Hello, this is Elimu Live on KUTV. I am Elimu Gladys Musenya, and today I'm going to take you through classification 1 in biology. So we are going to start with classification 1. Classification 1. So I'm going to introduce you to classification 1 of biology. So what is classification and why organisms should be classified? So classification is putting organisms into groups. This is putting organisms into groups. So classification, this means putting organisms into groups. It is based on study of external characteristics of organisms. So based on external characteristics of organisms. To be able to classify, you should first distinguish the external characteristics of organisms. The external characteristics include the skin, we have hair, we have eyes. This is maybe in human beings, in plants, and then we have in plants we have seeds, we have leaves, we have flowers. So these are the external characteristics of organisms, anything that we are seeing from externally. So to be able to classify, we have to be based on external characteristics of organisms. And we also have, it involves detailed observation of structure and functions of organisms. It involves detailed observation of structure, detailed observation of structure and functions of organisms. Classification. It involves detailed observation of structures and functions of organisms. The structures of organisms, structures include maybe in plants of organisms, we are talking about living organisms. So in plants, structure includes flowers, we have seeds, we have roots. And then the functions of the organisms, of the parts of the structures, we have maybe seeds, flowers producing seeds, and so on. Now we have, in general, classification refers to scientific method of organizing and categorizing living organisms based on their shared characteristics and relationship. So in general, structures. So we have in general, classification refers to scientific method of organizing. This is the scientific method of organizing This is the scientific method of organizing and categorizing organizing and categorizing. This is classification. We organize and categorizing living organisms we are able to organize, categorize living organisms based on their shared characteristics, based on their shared characteristics, and evolutionary relationship. So in general, classification, this is the scientific method of organizing and categorizing living organisms based on their shared characteristics and evolutionary relationship. That is what classification means, and the definition. It is putting organisms into groups, that is in simple terms, and it is based on external characteristics of organisms, the external characteristics, whatever you're able to see externally, not internally, especially in plants and animals, the living organisms. So organisms with similar characteristics are put together. So organisms, in classification, organisms that have or share similar characteristics are classified together or put together. Organisms that share similar characteristics are grouped together. If we have an ape and a human being, they share the same characteristics. They are placed together. If we have maybe maize and wheat sharing the same characteristics as grains, they are put together. Now, the other one, differences in structures are used to distinguish one from another. So we have differences in structures are used. So the differences in structures are used to distinguish one group. Are used to distinguish one group from the other. One group from the other. So in classification, organisms that share similar characteristics, they are grouped together. And the differences in structures are used to distinguish one group from the other group. Now we go to major units of classification. So our next one is major units of classification. Major units of classification. Major units of classification. Major units of classification. We have a term called taxonomy. So what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the study of characteristics of organisms for the purpose of classifying them. It is the study of the characteristics of organisms. It is the study of the characteristics of organisms. It is the study of characteristics of organisms for the purpose of classifying them. For the purpose of classifying them. Purpose of classifying them or grouping them. Classifying or grouping them. Now, we have another term. Taxonomy is the study of the characteristics of organisms for the purpose of classifying them and grouping them. Then we have taxon. What is a taxon? These are the groups that are formed. So this is a group. This is in singular. In singular, we call it a taxon, and in plural, we call it a taxa. These are groups. This is in plural. So these are our terms. Taxonomy is the study of the characteristics of organisms for the purpose of classifying them and or grouping them. So taxonomy is the study of the characteristics. And then we have taxon, which is a group, which is the group that is formed. And then we have the taxa, which is the plural of the word taxon. Now, taxonomic group includes, we have a lot here. I'm going to rub here. Taxonomic group. Taxonomic group include taxonomic group includes, we have the taxonomic groups here. Now we have number one, species. Species. This is the smallest unit of classification. Smallest unit of classification. Species is the smallest unit of classification. Organisms of the same species resemble each other. Organisms of the same species resemble each other. So organisms from the same species, they resemble each other. And species is the smallest unit of classification. Members of species interbreed to produce fertile offspring. So they interbreed to produce fertile offspring. To produce fertile offspring. Members of the species, they interbreed to produce fertile offspring. Now, we have the second one, the second unit, which is genus or genera. So this is the unit after species, and is made up of a number of species that share several characteristics. Made up of number of species that share the same, several characteristics, that share several characteristics. So a genus, it's made up of number of species that share several characteristics, and then members cannot interbreed. Remember, we've said in species, members, they interbreed to produce fertile offspring. But in genus, members do not interbreed. Members do not interbreed. And if they do interbreed, if they do interbreed, the offspring are infertile. So they have they have infertile offspring. They have infertile offspring. So in genus, made up of number of species that share several characteristics, members do not interbreed, and they have infertile offspring if they do interbreed. And remember, we said in species, they interbreed to produce fertile offspring. In species, they interbreed to produce fertile offspring. But in genus, they have infertile, they produce infertile offspring. Now we go to the third unit, which is family. The third unit, our third unit, which is family. Our first one was the smallest unit, which is species. Then we had genus, and then now we have the third one, which is family. Family. So family, it is made up of a number of genera that share several characteristics. Made up of a number of genera that share the same characteristics. Now, family made up of a number of genera. We had species, let me write here. Species, we had genus, stroke genera, and now we have the third one, which is family. It is made up of a number of genera that share the same characteristics. That is family. Now we go to the fourth one, which is order. Order. After family, we have order. A number of families with common characteristics. A number of families with common characteristics. So from the whatever we talked about, the units all have the common characteristics. So order, a number of families with common characteristics, and then family, a number of genera that share the same characteristics. Now we go to our fifth, which is class. Class is the fifth one. Orders that share a number of characteristics made up a class. So they share common characteristics with order. So class, we have family, order, class. So we update here. We have the fourth one, order, and then the fifth one, we have class. And then the sixth one, we have phylum or division. So here in phylum, these animals, and division for plants. So phylum is for animals and division is for plants. So this is the difference between the two. So a number of classes with similar characteristics make up a phylum in animals and division in plants. So we have number of classes with common characteristics. So we have animals in phylum and then division in plants. Now we go to the seventh one. We have kingdom. So Kingdom, it is made up of several phyla or division. Made up of several phyla. Made up of several phylum, stroke division. So division happens in plants, and then phylum, it's for animal. In plural, we have phyla. So this is singular, this is plural. So we update here. The sixth one, we had phylum or division for plants. And then the seventh one, we have kingdom. So this is the taxonomic group. They include the species, the genus, the family, order, class, phylum, stroke division, and then the kingdom. This is the largest taxonomic group unit. Species is the smallest unit, and then kingdom is the largest unit. So this is the largest taxonomic unit. We have said this is the smallest, this is the kingdom. Now, this is from the smallest to the largest. Species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom. Now, we move on swiftly to mnemonics. How to remember the taxonomic units from the largest to the smallest. We have from the largest to the smallest. Kenya police can only fight German soldiers. So this is let me write here. Kenya police can only fight German soldiers. This is a mnemonic that can help you remember the kingdom from the largest to the smallest. So these represent the kingdom. These represent the phylum, stroke division in plants, phylum in animals, and then can, this is for class, and then only, order, and then fight, family, and then German, we have genus, and then soldiers, we have the species. So this is from the largest to the smallest. Smallest, and this is from largest. From largest, we have the kingdom is the largest unit, and then the smallest unit, we have the species. Kenya police can only fight German soldier. This is for you to be able to remember the taxonomic units from the largest to the smallest. Now we move on to kingdoms. We move on to the kingdoms, which is our largest taxonomic group. Kingdoms. Now, kingdoms. We have 5 kingdoms. 5 kingdoms. They include Monera, Kingdom Monera. Our first one, Kingdom Monera. Our second one, we have Kingdom Protoctista. Kingdom Protoctista. And then our third one is Kingdom Fungi. And then our fourth one, we have kingdom Animalia. And then our fifth one, we have kingdom Plantae. We have 5 kingdoms: kingdom Monera, kingdom Protoctista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Animalia, and kingdom Plantae. So we also have the characteristics. Now we are going to the characteristics of the kingdoms. We start with the characteristics of kingdom Monera. Out of the 5 characteristics, we start with kingdom Monera. Characteristics of kingdom Monera. Characteristics of kingdom Monera. So the first characteristics, they are very small unicellular organisms. They are small unicellular organisms. They are small unicellular organisms, and they lack a nuclear membrane. Kingdom Monera lack a nuclear membrane. They lack a nuclear membrane. They are very small unicellular organisms. Unicellular, this means it is single-celled. Single means one. So they are very small unicellular organisms. Unicellular means single-celled or one, and then they lack a nuclear membrane. The third one, they are mainly bacteria. So bacteria belongs to kingdom Monera. They are mainly bacteria, and then they lack bound membrane organelles. That means they are prokaryotic. They are prokaryotic. Lack membrane bound organelles. They are prokaryotic. Prokaryotic means lacking membrane-bound organelles. Now we go to our next kingdom, which is kingdom Protoctista. Now we look at the characteristics. This is our first kingdom, and then our second kingdom, kingdom Protoctista. Characteristics. So our first characteristics, they are unicellular organisms. Are unicellular organisms. Same as the kingdom Monera. They have single-celled or one organism, unicellular organisms. Now our second, they are eukaryotic. They are eukaryotic. That means they have membrane-bound organelles. Eukaryotic, they have membrane-bound organelles. And they include algae, protozoa. They include algae, protozoa. We have kingdom Protoctista, are unicellular organisms, eukaryotic, and then they include algae and protozoa. Now we go to our next kingdom, that is kingdom Fungi. Our third one, the third one, we have kingdom fungi. So in kingdom fungi, some are unicellular and others are multicellular. Some are unicellular, some are unicellular, others are multicellular. So in kingdom fungi, some are unicellular while others are multicellular. This means they have multiple cells, and this one, some are having only one single cell. And then another one, have no chlorophyll, which is the green coloring matter. They lack the chlorophyll, and some are unicellular, others multicellular, and they have no chlorophyll. And some are parasitic, while most are saprophytic. Few are parasitic, while most are saprophytic. So in fungi, few are parasitic, while most are saprophytic. We go to our next kingdom, that is kingdom Animalia. Our fourth one, characteristics of kingdom Animalia and kingdom Plantae. So in kingdom Animalia, we have when you're looking at the characteristics in kingdom Animalia, the characteristics, we have to look at the body covering, which includes the skin. It can be covered by the skin. We have feathers, we have fur, we have hair. That in Animalia, that means we have birds, we have human beings. We also have the likes of skin, feathers, fur, hair. We have the frogs, chameleon. So that is in animals. And then in plants, we look at in characteristics in plants. We have kingdom Plantae. We have the characteristics, which we have the roots. They look at the seeds that can be either monocotyledonous, or dicotyledonous. And then we have flowers, we have fruits. This can help us distinguish the plants that we are having. And in kingdom Animalia, it is multicellular. Now we move on to binomial nomenclature. So we have 5 kingdoms: kingdom Animalia, kingdom Plantae, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Protoctista, and we have kingdom Monera. Now let's move on to binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature. So in binomial nomenclature, binomial binomial. Bi refers to two. Binomial nomenclature. Bi refers to two, and then nomial, this is naming. So binomial nomenclature, bi means two, nomial means naming, and binomial refers to two-part naming system used to identify species. It refers to two-part naming system, two-part naming system. It refers to two-part naming system used to identify species. Used to identify species. So binomial refers to two-part naming system used to identify species. Bi means two, nomial means naming. So two-part naming system used to identify species. So in this binomial, we have two-part name. First one, we have two-part name. In two-part name, we have genus, which is the first one. Genus. This is the first part. This is the first part. This is the first part. It refers to the group closely related species. Closely related species. And then the second one, we have the species. The species is the second part. This is the second part. So we have the first part. When you're writing the name, we have the first part, that is the genus, and then we have the second part, which is the species. The species, it identifies the specific species within the genus. Identifies the specific, so species identifies the specific species within genus. So it is the second part, and then it identifies the species within genus, and it is underlined. So we have the two-part naming, and then we go to it is underlined. It is underlined when handwritten. Or it can be written, if it's not handwritten, it can be written in italics. Can be written in italics. So it is, we have the two-part naming, we have the genus and the species. Now we have, it is underlined when handwritten and can be written in italics. If it is not handwritten, it can be written in italics. Now, for example, we have example of human or man. Let's use man. In man, we have the two-part name. We have the genus part, we have Homo, which is written in capital letters. The first letter should be written in capital letter. And the species, which is sapien, it should not, the second name should not be written in small letters. It should be written in small letters. So we have Homo sapien. This is handwritten. So when it is handwritten, you underline. But when underlining, you underline separately. So you underline separately. Homo sapien. So that is an example of the binomial nomenclature. Two-part name, and it is underlined when written and can be written in italics. For example, in a man, we have the genus, which is Homo, and the species, which is sapien. That means that we have written the two-part name and it is underlined when written, and it can be written in italics if it is not handwritten. So that is binomial nomenclature. Now let's look at why it is the importance of binomial nomenclature. The importance of having binomial nomenclature. We've said binomial means, bi means two, and nomial means naming. And now let's look at the importance of binomial nomenclature. Importance of binomial nomenclature. Importance of binomial nomenclature. First, binomial nomenclature provides universal naming system that scientists use. Provides universal naming system. It provides universal naming system that the scientists can use. It has unique names, making easier to identify them accurately. They have unique names, making them easier during identification. So we have unique name. For example, we have Homo and sapien. Homo sapien, that is unique, which makes them easier during identification by the scientist. And we have it is study and research. Is study and research. Because of their unique name, it's always is. The study and research helps the researchers and the scientists to be able to is and research well. Now we have the fourth one. Helps classify organisms into correct structure. Helps classify organisms into their hierarchical structures. So the binomial nomenclature, it provides universal naming system for the scientists. It has unique name. For example, we have the Homo sapien that helps them and make work easier during identification. And then it is study and research, and then helps classify organisms into their hierarchical structure. Now, we have some question here. Why is it supposed to be underlined? So we have, I had given you example of Homo sapien. So we have this question of why they are underlined. Why should we underline the words and the names? Why? So we have here a question. Why they are underlined? Why are they underlined? So I have underlined here Homo and sapien So the reason for underlining, it helps scientists recognize that they are scientific names. So the answer is helps scientists recognize them as scientific words and not common names. So the reason for underlining, like I've underlined here, Homo and sapien, the reason for underlining, it helps scientists recognize them as scientific words and not common names. And why should we use scientific names? The reason for using scientific name, question 2, reasons for using scientific names. Reason for using the scientific names, we have for unique identification. The first reason is unique identification. And then the second one, we have stability over time. The names, the scientific names are not going to change. So stability over time. And then we have the third one, it is descriptive and informative. Descriptive and informative. Scientific names are descriptive and informative. And then we have the fourth one, clarity in relationship. Clarity in relationship. Clarity in relationship. And then why use Latin to name the scientific words? So the reason, the next question, question 3, it is why use, let me rub here, why use Latin? Why use Latin? Why are the scientific names in Latin? They are universal language. So Latin, it's a universal language. Universal language. And the other one, it is no regional variation. No regional variations. And then the other one allows for precise description. Allows for precise, they allow for precise descriptions. That is why we use Latin for the scientific names. And today we have talked about the classification, we have talked about the introduction to classification, and we have talked about major units of classification. We have terminology, that is taxonomy, and taxa or taxon, which is singular. Then we had the taxonomic groups, species, and whatever we have learned. And then we had kingdoms, and we have talked about binomial nomenclature. Now, after the binomial nomenclature, we have talked about the importance of binomial nomenclature. Then we have talked about why they are underlined and why we use scientific names and why we also use Latin. So from the kingdoms, the external features of the organisms in plants and animals. In animals, we have talked about the limbs, body covering, the shape. In plants, we have talked about the roots. And now that is our classification 1. And Thank you for watching Elimu Live. I was your mwalimu Gladys Musenya, and I hope and I trust, believing that you have understood and you've taken short notes for practice. And so maybe we have the scientific names. So I'm going to leave you with an assignment on binomial nomenclature. You find the other names. You find the other names apart from Homo sapien. We have the names in, for example, maize. So you find the binomial nomenclature. So thank you for watching with us Elimu Live. Classification 1. That was all about classification 1. So we had, you look at the maize, you look at the example of tiger, and we have talked about human. So you look at tiger and maize. That is our assignment for today. And you also hope you've taken short notes for revision. And we have talked about the need for classification. So we have understood from there. And thank you for cooperating. And I believe that you were taking short notes. I was your mwalimu, Gladys Musenya. So